Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. Want to do a quick check-in here at level 70 with our Dust Devils Double Swing Barbarian. Our previous video, I believe, was doing the World Tier 3 Capstone at level 35, and then we basically got into World Tier 3 Nightmare difficulty, rolled for rare sacred weapons, imprinted those, did Hell Tides to get our full suit of Sacred, and then did the World Tier 4 Capstone at level 55. Did the same thing, got into World Tier 4 Torment, rolled for rare Ancestrals, used those to farm our suit of Ancestral, and then that's where we're at now, where we have our full suit of Ancestral, and we're ready to start doing Nightmare Dungeons. And this is an important portion of the leveling experience because we want to now get our next set of upgrades of exactly 925 items, item level 925s. So we don't want to swap out anything that we've currently got, which should all be 800s. Right, one 925 mace. Everything else is 800s. We only want to replace this stuff with 925s going forward. So it's a lot easier now. We don't have to do Nightmare Dungeon level 100 to get the yellow 925s. We can just kill enemies that are monster level 95 plus. So what that means is the Helltide now at level 70, I'm caught up. So like I'm at the correct world tier level where the monsters are either in the open world -5, maybe they're still 70, but eventually they'll be -5 to me. And then in the Hell Tides, they're +3 to me, right? So if I use a Profane Mind Cage, they would be monster level 83 right now, right? So we've got a few levels to go. We got to basically get to level 82 before we can farm in the Hell Tide again. It'll be a waste of our time before then. So that means we've got from level 70 to level 82 to just run Nightmare Dungeons with our newly upgraded suit of Ancestrals. So that's where we're going to start, and we're going to do the same thing where we want to be fighting the monster level 95s exactly, right? So that's the lowest level that we can fight to get our 925 items. So we're going to try this tier 41 Nightmare Dungeon, and then after that we can talk about our build setup a little bit. Okay, and then for consumables, we have our option of magic elixirs, and these would all give experience plus 8%, or the rares, which have better effects, the seasonal effects, and only 6% experience. We're going to go with the Holy Bolts because it's very flashy. And then we can either increase our fire and shadow resistance or our lightning and poison. I'm going to opt for lightning and poison, and this also gives us a buff to experience. Okay, and then lastly, I can opt for getting Challenging Shout and drop the generator. And then if I can steal 1 point from something, I can get the bonus life for Challenging Shout too. Is there anything I can take? Maybe borrow from Concussion? Because we have ranks to Concussion from equipment. And then one thing we're doing that I haven't seen anybody play with yet is the Double Swing Unique. So what does this do? We cast Double Swing 4 times, and then our next Double Swing will hit twice with increased damage. And then everything we have on here is for Dust Devils. So we got the Temper for Dust Devil can cast twice on the two-handers. And then this one's got This one's Fierce Winds, and this one's on the two-hander because of the second clause. Dust Devils are 38% bigger and deal 1% increased damage for their size increase. So that's like Dust Devils 38% more damage. And then we've got the tempers here for Dust Devil size and Dust Devil size. And if these tempers were perfect, it would be 30 and 30, which is 60. And then this thing perfect would be 40, which is exactly 100% size increase, which is what they've capped the size increase at. So that's basically, if all of that was perfect, it would be Dust Devils are twice as big and do twice as much damage. And then this makes Shout do Dust Devils, this makes Double Swing do Dust Devils, and this one does Dust Devils on Fury generation. And then all of our stuff has resource generation where we can get it. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing worth saying is that the armor pieces all have a kind of useless utility secondary role, and we just went for ranks of concussion and then settled on stun duration if that came up. Okay, let's see how we play here. And then let's go triple shout and charge like that. So what's nice about this build now with Unlimited Fury is we don't have to click. So we can just hold down the double swing button and then charge when we need to. So we're literally just moving around by holding right click down. I'm like barely looking at the screen. It's very autopilot-y. If we had more available aspect slots, we would invest more into brawling and charge. And then if we want to hit charge shots without a target, we need to be using the shift button. Like that. So what we learned from the Hammer of the Ancients build is the value of Unrelenting Fury giving refunds. And then also, if you double swing an enemy that's stunned, it gives a full refund. So for us, that's going to be all positive Fury gain with the resource generation. And then we currently benefit from Numbing Wrath for Fury Gen. So we might not need Warbringer, which would just free up some Paragon nodes. This build will definitely benefit from accelerating, just making things faster. But it's very nice to just hold down the button and not really have to worry about anything. And then also with the way that itemization works now, we can truly run without a generator. Our equipment is generating fury. So we don't have to worry about the initiation of fights. We can definitely try and go into more Fortify synergies now between Numbing Wrath and Warbringer, we have a Tremendous Fury generation, or Fortify generation. Yellows are just going to be Salvage All. The game is becoming very Diablo 3-like, where when we go to the Smith now, what we're going to do is salvage common, magic, rare. And then we'll stash the legendaries to sift through after we get a bunch of them. So right now our goal is to accumulate a bunch of legendary 925s. We don't have as much brawling synergy as I would like. I really like the skill that made it so that things blew up when they died from charge. That was really nice. That was really nice in the Helltide to blow packs up. Okay, so damage mitigation kind of isn't a problem, which is what I was concerned about, and why we switched into challenging shout. But more shouts is fine, because our build is very shout heavy anyway. Okay, so our build is quite strong, and we're leveling Twister up. So let's look at the pieces real quick. So in our first board, we've got Twister. The question is, how much do we invest into this when we level it up to 15 and expand the radius? Do we put more strength into this or not? The answer is probably no, although I'm not sure. Our first socketed board is Warbringer. We've got the Warbringer node along with Numbing Wrath for a lot of Fortify generation. We've got all the Max Fury nodes. We've got the Rezal. And then this is just early Paragon. So we're basically investing heavily into Warbringer, and then we want Blood Rage. Blood Rage has been nerfed a lot, but we put Damage while Berserking on all of our weapons, and that got us to the bonus cap for this pretty easily, alongside this guy here, which when we get the willpower up to cap, it will definitely cap at the 30% here. So let's look at the gear real quick. This is just Exploit and Twister. Twister giving bonus damage for Dust Devils. Skill tree is very straightforward. Minimum investment into Lunging Strike. Double Swing has the refund when you hit a stunned enemy, and then casting Double Swing maintains our Berserking, so Perma Berserking, imposing Presence and Martial Wrath, Tactical Rallying Cry for the resource generation, Challenging Shout for damage reduction and additional max life, War Cry as a source to initiate Berserking, charge with the CDR, full into Shouts, full into Berserking, Swiftness, Pit Fighter, Concussion Wallop, pieces of our equipment are giving us Concussion, and then Wrath of the Berserker Unconstrained. And then if we really wanted to go in on the spending theme, we could get Invigorating Fury. And what would we pull out of for Invigorating Fury? We would have to take 4 points out of Shouts or Berserking, and so far it hasn't proven to be necessary. Okay, let's go back to Kilvashed and take a look at our gear. So we salvage common, magic, and rare. We keep the legendaries. And then we have a stash for weapons, so those are both 925s. So this stuff will all start becoming junk. We'll just hang on to it for now. A couple of 925 pants and a 925 ring. And then basically what we want to do is just accumulate a bunch of new 925 equipment in here, and then we'll kind of go through it all at once and upgrade the build. We're keeping the uniques mixed in, because the uniques are basically part of, like, if we're gearing up, right? Like, we can gear into a build around a unique or two if we need to. But in general now, the regular legendaries should be much, much better. They basically have 6 things on them. They come with 3 affixes, plus 2 tempers, plus a legendary aspect. Whereas the uniques have 4 affixes and the unique aspect. So they only have 5 things, where an Ancestral legendary has 6 things, right? So let's see, anything worth talking about here? So if I look at my spreadsheet, I basically just made lists of all the affixes on everything. So like two-handed weapons, for example, have fury on kill and resource cost reduction, whereas one-handed weapons do not. And then all the affixes for all the equipment. Gold is like key rolls to the equipment, so like CDR and helm. And then green is just fine all around. We don't need armor anymore. But strength, max life, Resol is just a stub for resistances. Like having resistance on gear is generally fine. Right? Any ranks that we need, like defensive, rallying cry. Lucky hit chance is kind of a rare roll, so we keep that in mind. The gold rolls are the really important ones. The green are kind of fine for any piece of equipment. And then the orange ones are good things that are specific to that piece of equipment. So like on pants, do I ever really care about basic skill and lunging strike? No. So on pants, it's always just, yep, strength, max life, and a resistance. That's a good pair of pants. So that's gotten simplified tremendously. And then the amulet's been simplified quite a bit too, and the stuff that I like on the amulet is here. Move speed, CDR, attack speed, critical strike chance, max resource, all that stuff would be good. And then just like generic stuff, strength, max life damage, resol, fury on kill, resource cost reduction. So like a good amulet is obviously like movement speed, CDR, and either critical strike chance or attack speed probably. Okay, and then on this equipment, so yeah, fury per second on the helmet. That's how my fury gauge starts off, fully topped off. I've got that on helm and chest, strength and max life, and then resistance rolls, and then the barbarian like utility, whatever, the thing that gives either concussion or stun on things. The twin strikes gloves, which I don't know if this is good or not, but it's for double swing, so I'm going to use it for the time being. And then pants, strength, max life, and a greater affix for resistance, then more resistance, and then just the roll trying to get concussion ranks. Stun duration is just where we would want concussion ranks. And then boots, we've got movement speed as the gold thing that we want on there. And then we're trying to roll for another movement speed or like a CDR for charge, for example. So either like mobility CDR or movement speed. And then stun duration is just a stub for concussion. And then on equipment, so this one has the fury on kill plus the resource cost reduction. And then, max life, but this could be like max life strength damage. And then damage while berserking to activate the Blood Rage legendary node. And then all stuff for Dust Devils. So Dust Devil casting twice %. And then a legendary aspect for Dust Devils. And then this one's damage while berserking, Dust Devil size, and an aspect for Dust Devils. This one, damage while berserking, Dust Devil size, and an aspect for Dust Devils. And then this one, damage while berserking, chance to cast Dust Devils twice, and then the aspect for charge. And then on jewelry, I just like having all resource generation stuff. So this is Voracious Rage, which is the renamed Unrelenting Fury. This thing on Amulet seems pretty nice, 45% refund just for doing one double swing. With resource generation, percent multiplication should basically always be keeping us overtopped. So this has double movement speed, resource gen, critical strike chance. This has critical strike chance, lucky hit chance, resource generation, and then I just opted for charge damage on the additional damage rolls. Like, I have to choose offensive, and I just chose charge damage for fun. This one has attack speed, critical strike chance, resource generation, and then this is just Echoing Fury, which is now vocalized empowerment. And this is Bold Chieftains. I was wrong about this being nerfed. It was actually buffed. So the ranges like 1 to 2 depends on the item power. So when we get a 925 Bold Chieftains, we'll see what the actual max roll range of it is supposed to be. And then now we just need to climb the sigil tiers until we get to, I think, a 46 so that we can open the pit. And then, like I said, we got to get to level 82 before we can go back into Helltides. So, yeah, maybe what I'll do is if I do some editing, I can bring in highlights from the level 55 World Tier 3 activities, and then I can do some highlights later for World Tier 4 activities with this guy right here, like go run the bosses real quick, and then do my Nightmare Dungeon grind. And maybe I can republish and have like a highlight reel or something, or maybe like stitch together a build guide plus the highlight reel. Although I don't want to commit to that much editing, but I'm trying to give a sense of what I can also do is include a video from this guy Nick2, who gives a really good explanation of progression through the season. And basically, I'm at like the key progression point, which is your first suit of Ancestral, and then the game is basically opened up. Like at this moment now, endgame is completely opened up. I can do any of the activities basically. My build is definitely strong enough to do the pit. I can do Nightmare Dungeon glyph leveling, and then when I get high enough level, I can go back out into the open world and do Whispers and Helltides. But right now, that's not a good use of my time. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that breakdown of where we're at was interesting. So take care. Thanks.